Hi and welcome to my very first tutorial for cost estimation in building construction. This tutorial is made especially for smaller and medium building contractors who don't use specialized estimation softwares, which are by the way standard in bigger companies. So I thought that can be kind of metrics which can be used all over the world to estimate building costs for turnkey projects. So what's the difference between turnkey and general enterprise? In general enterprise, all costs are defined very carefully with descriptions, with amounts, all processes. So a consultant make a GAB or XML file which can be imported and used in diverse estimation softwares. We have everything there. But in a turnkey project, nothing is defined. So investor has just a very short verbal description of what they want, and it's up to contractor to define all kinds of work by itself and bid just with a simple price. So let's see how it works to us. We have defined our own costs and all projects. So for example, we can focus today on groundworks and on project of renovation of the street in some European city. The principle is the same all over the world actually. So to be sure not to forget something, we should hold to a little more official kind of thinking, which is used in bigger companies. So I think we should define first chapters of all processes. So those chapters are used actually in many of bigger companies. So number one should be used also by us as preparation and general costs. Number two, excavation and soil transport. Number three is reserved for tunnel work, so it's not actual today. But number four, ditch works and drainage system. Number five, road foundation. Six, road layer with asphalt or curbstone or stuff like that. Number seven, road marking and signalization. So if we hold us to these main chapters, we can think a little more about each of those. So the best thing at first is think about our resources, so which will be used in this process. Due to use of these resources, I made one bank of resources here and a special card. So these numbers here are also used in bigger companies. So I think it's the best to hold to those also. So number one is reserved for labor. Number two, helping material, which is material not built inside, but this material which can be reused in other projects. Number three is main material. Number four, subcontractors for those works we cannot do by ourselves. Number five, machines and equipment. And number six, administrative costs. So if we have a look to all of those, for example, labor, I define those resources I will use in my calculation here. So it gets each gets own resource number, which can be from which must begin with one, of course. So for example, I have ground worker here. I defined with unit price of 40 euros per hour. Of course, it must estimates first. You must know how much will you pay for your workers here. Plumber, electrician, and site gardener. Each of these resources has a special number. So the same principle is for all other resources here. We can see, for example, helping material and main material. This is that we must pay for, and the best thing is just to ask directly in the market for these prices. Number four, subcontractors. for those arbeids we cannot do by ourselves. For example, if we don't have we have excavator, for example, but don't have trucks, so we must engage someone. For laying of pavement, they are the same thing, curbstone, or maybe some other thing. We'll see these processes. So number 5 are machines and equipment we'll use in these processes. And number 6, as the longest list here, is administrative costs. In practice, we don't think very much about these costs, but it can be really, really big. So here a salary to our managers on engineers and projects. There's different kind of taxes like road tax, administrative costs for electrical power, data, water and sewage, all deponey costs for different kinds of soil. So as long as we defined our resources, we can just use them very simple with copy paste from here to our calculation. So our calculation actually will be like this. So in main chapter we define under chapters. So we have 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So as a preparation general costs, as first example, we must have surveying preparation. For example, we have some fixed marks and we must take them in the system. So we must define these lines, so we call posts, these orange ones, which are main thing for our calculation here, because all posts must be defined with unit and amount. So as I mentioned, example, we have like 10 fixed marks here. We must define it in the unit of piece and amount of 10. Marking directions and technical control, we define just like a round sum with amount 1. But how will we price this? So that's the answer. For each of these posts, we must define our resources from resource bank. What's actual here is a surveyor we'll use for this post, defined with estimated with 20 hours with this unit price per hour, and the equipment he will use or she will use in this job. So it's estimated like 20 hours for a surveyor with whole month with surveying equipment, and we get the price in these two lines. These two lines define my post. So my post 1.1.1 shall have cost 1,530 euros. The same thing is with other posts. So we go to next and to the next. So we go to next under chapter, site preparation drift costs, which is huge, and I will take a little bit more details in one of my next videos. So that was actually the theme for first video. If you liked it, just subscribe and make some comments, and please ask whatever can be of interest to you. See you next video.